Welcome to Express Tribune Headlines. The Supreme Court of Pakistan has initiated suo motu proceedings regarding Senator Faisal Wavda's call for Islamabad High Court Judge Babar Sattar to provide evidence of alleged interference in judicial matters. A three-judge bench, led by Chief Justice Qazi Faiz Isa, will address the issue. The move follows Wavda's contentious press conference and subsequent demands amid rising tensions over claims of intelligence meddling in judicial affairs. The court's action also aligns with IHC's clarification that dual citizenship does not disqualify a lawyer from becoming a judge, countering Wavda's inquiries about Sattar's qualifications. After being summoned by the Supreme Court over his criticisms of Islamabad High Court judges, Senator Faisal Wavda defended his remarks, asserting his refusal to retract his statements about judicial interference. During a television interview, Wavda maintained his critique of alleged meddling by intelligence agencies in judicial matters, despite not naming specific judges in his initial press conference. He emphasized standing firm on his honor, warned of sharp retorts to any slander, and expressed gratitude towards Chief Justice Qazi Faiz Isa for the fair hearing scheduled by a three-member bench on May 17th. Wavda's comments come amidst previous controversies involving claims of no action against derogatory remarks by others in his former party, PTI. A confrontation in the National Assembly between MNA Tariq Bashir Cheema and opposition leader Zartaj Gul escalated into chaos, prompting calls for Cheema's membership suspension. The dispute arose during a session chaired by Speaker Ayaz Sadiq following Cheema's comments about past government practices to ensure quorum. The altercation intensified when Gul accused Cheema of rudeness, leading to a disruption and the speaker adjourning the meeting. Security was heightened as members of the Sunni Ittihad Council sought Cheema, who had exited the chamber. After heated discussions, Cheema apologized for his remarks and the conflict was resolved with Speaker Sadiq mediating, ensuring the continuation of the budget session without suspending Cheema. During ongoing negotiations for a new loan program, the IMF has urged Pakistan to enhance its poverty alleviation efforts. The discussions, now in their fourth day, have seen the IMF call for expanded coverage and improved efficiency in programs like the Benazir Income Support Program. Pakistani officials responded by outlining current and future commitments, including spending Rs 472 billion on BISP this year, protecting beneficiaries from electricity tariff hikes, and aiming to cover 20 million households with a fully functional registry by September. They reported significant increases in enrollments in various social security programs, promising further funding in the next financial year. Federal Minister for Planning, Development and Reforms Ehsan Iqbal projected that by 2047, Pakistan could rank among the top 10 global economies, emphasizing the need to overcome negativity to achieve this goal. Speaking at the Sustainable Development Goals Conference, Iqbal highlighted the critical role of SDG implementation in national development, aligning Pakistan's budget with these goals. He noted Pakistan's vulnerability to climate change, stressing the importance of sustainable resource management. Iqbal called on parliamentarians, the private sector, and the media to actively support and promote the SDGs, underlining their integration into Pakistan's 2025 agenda. At the Pakistan Institute of Medical Sciences, medical staff conducted a health checkup of PTI founder Imran Khan under the supervision of Dr. Faisal Sultan, the chief of Shaukat Khanum Hospital. While Imran underwent a thorough examination and provided blood samples, his spouse Bushra Bibi declined to participate, refusing both the examination and blood sample collection. Jail sources noted that these medical evaluations were ordered by the court and that the findings from Imran's tests, along with expert opinions, will soon be submitted to the Accountability Court. Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi stated that foreign influences are implicated in the recent tensions in Azad Jammu and Kashmir, hinting at involvement from a neighboring country. During a media briefing in Islamabad, Naqvi discussed these allegations alongside the announcement of a Rs 23 billion subsidy package intended to alleviate the issues in Azad Jammu and Kashmir. He highlighted the misuse of social media to exacerbate the situation, mentioning specific claims of casualties that were spread online. The government has responded by taking action against those involved in these campaigns. The United States anchored a temporary floating pier to a beach in Gaza on Thursday to boost aid deliveries. US President Joe Biden announced the plan for the pair in March as aid officials implored Israel to improve access for relief supplies into Gaza over land routes. By opening a route to deliver aid by sea, the US hopes to combat the humanitarian crisis that has put hundreds of thousands of people at the risk of famine. United Nations stressed that delivering aid by land was the most viable, effective, and efficient method. The United States State Department said the humanitarian situation in Gaza continued to deteriorate and urged Israel to allow sustained access for aid via the southern and northern parts of the enclave. Chinese President Xi Jinping met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Beijing for a detailed discussion on strategic issues, emphasizing the need for solidarity and cooperation amid global turbulence. During the meeting at Zhongnanhai, Xi highlighted China's resolve under the Communist Party's leadership to face global changes and pursue high-quality development. He expressed China's commitment to promoting global governance, fairness, and world peace. Putin acknowledged China's unstoppable growth and expressed Russia's desire to enhance cooperation with China and the global south for a more multipolar world. Following this, Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived in Harbin on Friday on the second leg of his two-day state visit to China. Chicago police cleared a pro-Palestinian encampment at DePaul University after it had been established for nearly 3 weeks. The operation, involving officers in riot gear, prompted significant unrest among students and activists. Parveen Mundi, the university's student body president, described a chaotic scene where police physically disrupted the site, including an incident where her tent was flipped while she searched for her phone. Following the clearance, students and protesters regrouped across the street, leading to confrontations with police and the temporary detention of 2 students. DePaul University President Robert L. Manuel cited unsuccessful negotiations with the DePaul Divestment Coalition and concerns over campus safety as reasons for the police intervention. At the historic site of Nazi book burnings, Bebelplatz in Berlin, family members of hostages held by Hamas commemorated on Thursday the victims of the October 7th attack and those remaining in Hamas captivity. Bebelplatz is to be symbolically renamed to Hamas Hostages Square, with the placement of an installation of plastic chairs holding photographs of the remaining hostages. Several art installations have been put in place on Bebelplatz, including the 132 empty chairs. The idea of a Hostages Square originated in Tel Aviv, and organizers want this to be a platform for campaigning for the release of the hostages. EU regulators announced an investigation into Meta Platforms' Facebook and Instagram for potential breaches of the Digital Services Act, specifically concerning child safety. This follows Meta's submitted risk assessment in September, which the European Commission found insufficient in addressing risks such as behavioral addictions and the rabbit hole effects caused by their algorithms. The Commission also raised concerns about the effectiveness of Meta's age verification methods, which could allow children access to inappropriate content. Jennifer Lopez has responded to divorce rumors with husband Ben Affleck by focusing on her work, specifically her upcoming movie Atlas. In a recent Instagram video, she discussed the movie's themes of love, friendship, and self-belief, all while conspicuously displaying her wedding rings. Meanwhile, tabloid reports suggest a potential split, citing Affleck's absence from their shared home and Lopez house hunting alone. However, Affleck's current involvement in filming a sequel to The Accountant could explain their recent public appearances without each other. The first trailer for the film It Ends With Us, based on Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel, has been unveiled, featuring Blake Lively as Lily, a young entrepreneur in Boston. The film, which also stars Justin Baldoni as Ryle, a neurosurgeon, showcases their intense but complex connection amidst differing life goals. The story delves into Lily's romantic challenges, including the re-emergence of a past lover, Atlas Corrigan. Initially slated for a February 2024 release, the movie faced delays due to the Writers Guild of America strike and is now rescheduled for August 9, 2024. Blake Lively shared her excitement about playing Lily with People magazine, emphasizing her deep connection with the character.